Hello, this is Alan Wheeler. I just lost the few minutes I tried to begin this recording. This is the wrap-up video response to Ouroboros, Natalia, who asked us to tell about our Council of Seven, the big reveal, which I should have known because I have a mirror sitting right here on my altar space. We were projecting ourselves as we talked about these decks. So now I'm going to try to quickly go through. I've tried to get the decks out here, and we'll try to quickly recap since all the detail work and groundwork is already laid. So the first deck on the Council of Seven was the Universal Waite. And I accused this deck of having standard personalities of the, let's see, I'll get the box here, of the Fool and the Empress and the Magician. But I tried to say they were the kind of baseline, basic archetypes. And that's me. I also said that the deck had bright feelings, optimistic. Of course, I wrap it in a yellow silk handkerchief. The first deck I ever bought, right just before this one, was the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot. And I got the Universal for the same reason, being a brighter deck. So that maybe reflects my own optimism and brightness that comes to the table. Interestingly, I said some have an aversion to the Rider-Waite-Smith, don't seem to like the tone, but others love it. So I suppose that's about me too. The next deck I talked about was the Morgan Greer deck, which I mentioned the colors are specially picked. I thought maybe to make it grounded, accessible, less creepy than the Rider-Waite-Smith. And I brought the actual deck here, and I keep it in a black bag with a black reading cloth. And so it does reflect that I like to be a stable person. I like to be a trustworthy person, grounded, and maybe not creepy to people, although I certainly guess I have that potential. So that was the Morgan Greer. I said the Queen of Swords was sharp with a gentle delivery, and that's something else that I would love to be true of myself. The mini, also in black, the mini Rider-Waite snuck onto the council. If you remember that sequence, because I brought it on to read for the deck I didn't have here at the altar with me. And I accidentally read for this deck, so it made it onto the council, and I pulled the Tower, saying that it tears down pride and presumption, and has the personality of the High Priestess. Again, I'm supposed to be saying that's about me. The Alchemical Parrot that I keep here, I keep it with a blue silk handkerchief. Interestingly, I accused this deck of being very airy, intellectual, and on the bright side, I said it had accuracy and exacting clarity, not boldness, but exactness. And so part of my personality might be I can also be clinical in that way. Very mental, sometimes overthinking, philosophical. And so the Alchemical Parrot reflects me. The next deck, in order of purchase, I think I got them out of order in the first video, was the Tarot of Dreams. I said that this is mystical, dreamy, but I pulled the Emperor, who I said looked like an Egyptian style mystical emperor there, that might talk about taking my own authority through those mystical experiences and being in the driver's seat and having that freedom and power. This deck, the reading cloths I use are yellow and white. So that mystical, dreamy, imaginative side is me. Of course, the picture on the box is the Ace of Swords, but it's still a dreamy approach, I think. Okay. Then I had a shift to the more recent decks where my experiences have been more spiritual. The Crystal Visions, a tarot I talked about. And so let me try to follow instructions here. I can feel eerie, fantastical, like the Lord of the Rings. I can be helpful, tender, and sweet. I can be mystical, tapping into soul and spirit, direct and clear with forthright messages, like the Maiden of the Crystal Visions Tarot. And then my favorite deck, starring the Empress. So transferring that to myself, I have unimaginable love. I'm powerful, passionate, energetic, bright. I pulled the Lord of Scepters and read it for this council member. And that was the idea of power and brightness charging out on that fiery steed. Again, that's me, and I noted the picture on the side. Again, the tower collapsing as the figure escapes there. And that's me. The last deck on the council, I think must be under construction, in development, because I don't have the deck yet, but I'm using the guidebook for the Deviant Moon Tarot. So I would say I am psychedelic, shape-shifting, a trickster, and can get into the shadows as the Deviant Moon deck does. And I opened the book to the Eight of Swords and misrepresented it a bit. I described it as the Rider Waite Smith. I'm not going to find it fast enough here, but I described it as the flying arrows in a lot of cards, but actually it shows a woodcutter, similar to the Alchemical Tarot version, cutting down, cutting back the surge of power represented by the Eight, maybe showing a new beginning. But this one, I am under construction. I am in development. I am learning to imagine and investigate the shadow side, but don't even have all the tools yet. Although I have the theory and the background in place. So, interestingly, I did note that you may remember I showed all these books that went along with the decks, even some that had to be purchased separately, and I think that's part of myself. There's both that book, that study side, that book learning side, and that mystical side, as these are all packed in silk handkerchiefs with crystals, and there's an analytical aspect and there's a dreamy mystical aspect to all of these council members, and that means to myself. So thank you for the opportunity to follow up, and thank you for all the people that have been viewing and interacting, and hope we'll do more in the future. I think that's everything. Many blessings. Again, thanks everyone so much, and take care.